Okay, I'd like to welcome you all to 1 Million Cups. Who's never been here before? Well, welcome. Please come back. Bring your friends. If, as you're sitting here, you're thinking, boy, I should be up there presenting, let one of the organizers know, and we'll see how you get into the queue there. Or if you know somebody that should be up here presenting, let them know. 1 Million Cups is part of the part of the Kauffman Foundation out of Kansas City. There are 1 million cups all over the United States. Every one of them meets Wednesday morning. It's sort of the same format, a little networking, connecting, a presentation or two. We've got so much going on here in Lincoln, we've got to do 2 a week just to keep up. New companies are coming up faster than we can have them present. And then afterwards, you can do a little more networking, connecting, and be out the door by 9:30. We would like to thank our sponsors. Of course, the mill down in the far left corner for the all-important coffee. Then the Kauffman Foundation, of course. Lincoln Partnership for Economic Development, LPED, which is a joint venture between the City of Lincoln and Lincoln Chamber of Commerce. Turbine Flats, and Fuse Co-working. If you attend 1 Million Cups, you can work free of charge at either Fuse or Turbine Flats today. So if you're in town and you're going to be here a while and need a place to work, check out either of those 2 places. Bard Home with the donuts back here, and then Escape Lincoln. And if you've never done an escape room, you got to do that. You'll probably keep going back. We would like to thank our organizers with whom this would not be possible. Anne McClure, who has escaped Lincoln, there she is. Abby Bartholomew, is she here? She's with LPED, Lincoln Partnership for Economic. Dane Patton with Bats and Rats. Dal Santos with Merrill Lynch. Okay, there we go. Lindsay is with Don't Panic Labs. Sarah with the Nebraska Wesleyan, and I'm Von Carter with Strat DM. Afterwards, we will have open office. There are some people here that are willing to talk to you and give you advice, and it only costs you $0.25, and one of them is going to be Bard Home, and can talk to you about any legal issues you might have. I'd be more than happy to talk to you about strategic planning, mission, vision, values. Dow can be happy to talk with you about investments. Anybody else here that's going to be? Okay, so keep that in mind. This lets you know, let us know you were here, and you'll get on our list, so you'll get a weekly email advising you of what's coming up at the next 1 Million Cups. Please silence your phones. And today we have 2 outstanding presenters. The first one is Doomsun. I always thought maybe this was a Chinese lunch restaurant, but that's dim sum. Although the presenter here is one awesome cook. This guy knows how to make food. And so without any further ado, I'm going to introduce Joe Smith with Doomsun, and he's going to explain to us what that's all about. Give him a big welcome.
Thanks, Vaughn. Let's see, I'm going to look out in the audience and make sure I have my Chief Doom Officer. Is literally his only job. I pay him in crypto tokens. And it looks like my other half isn't here yet, but he'll be here. All right. Full disclosure, my goal here today is not to pitch you Doomsun. I want to actually see if I can get people to actually understand what the heck this is. And this is my 10.5th iteration of it. So I think I'm getting pretty good at it, but it's going to require effort on both sides. I'm going to say a lot of big words. Don't be intimidated. I'm going to explain them if I forget to explain them. Q&A is, what, 20 minutes of Q&A? Is that how this works? We're going to need it. Anyway, I'm Joe Smith. I'm co-founder and CEO at Doomsun. And Doomsun is an algorithmic trading operation. We operate in the algorithmic trading space. We build infrastructure for algorithmic trading. We also build products to help traders make sense of complex markets. The name Doomsun has nothing to do with food. It's what the sun looks like when it's occluded by aerosols from coal-fired power plants or particulates from forest fires. And it's supposed to be a warning that we should probably do something about this present danger that is climate change. And we have a lot of uncertainty on the horizon. So, world's in transition right now. We have climate urgency. We have this massive energy transition happening right now. For example, 83% of all new energy added to our grid last year was solar and battery. AI-driven technological advances are accelerating change, demanding more electricity. And if you haven't noticed, politics is more volatile than it's ever been. And because of that, markets have been more volatile than they have been in recent memory. These charts here, they tell a story. If you look at the top left chart here, we have the price from 2009 to present day of battery, solar, and wind. Solar has decreased 92% in the past decade and a half. That's an insane reduction in cost. Energy investment in renewable energy technology, the energy transition space, was $2.3 trillion last year, vastly outpacing the investment in fossil fuels. U.S. electricity consumption is increasing for the first time since the 1970s. And finally, geopolitical risk, as measured worldwide, not just here in this country, is on the rise. And all of this chaos is resulting in a lot of volatility, especially in the energy transition space, where there's a ton of new money flooding into the space. There's a lot of technological advancement, and there's a lot of uncertainty about the future due to the politics involved with it. If you look at the bottom left, this is the S&P 500, the yellow line at the bottom, versus 8 energy transition stocks. And this has been going on for years. So this momentum's been there. The chaos is present and continuing. So markets are complex adaptive systems. Since the 1960s, we've modeled markets as if they just followed simple bell curves, as if their price movements were random, independent, feedbackless. The reality is there's tons of feedback in markets. What happened yesterday in a market affects what happens to today's price. What happened 10 years ago technically affects today's price. And what happens in a market is regime dependent. It depends on what's happening in the broader market. Of course, it depends on the news cycle, but it depends on the long tail of events that have happened before today. There's a huge gap in tooling that people use. People use things like TradingView, which is a technical analysis tool that lets you draw squiggly lines on charts and pretend that you can forecast the future. People follow random walk models that assume that every price change is just a coin flip, and if you could just figure out the variance and mean of the market, maybe you could understand it. That is empirically false. It's easy to demonstrate that that's false, and I will on the next slide. Our view is that turbulence in markets, the volatility, and what we call non-stationarity, which means the market's properties are actually changing over time, is where real edge is. And if you have the right tools and you can make sense of it, you can find real edge in those markets. This is a screenshot of one of our backtesting systems, and I'm showing this to you because it shows 3 ticker charts at the top. The first one is a company called Sunrun. They are a commercial photovoltaic solar panel manufacturer. And the second one is a synthetic chart generated by our system using the statistical properties, the statistical fingerprint of that same market. And the third one is just a random walk, completely random. If you were to just flip a coin at every time step and either go up or down $1, that's what you get. And I dare anyone here to be able to tell which one, if I were to shuffle them, was a real market, was a synthetic market generated from the actual properties of the market using our structural analysis, and which one was just a random walk. You can't. But if you look along the bottom, these are what we call the, and don't worry about what the acronym means, but it's an MFDFA surface plot. And what it is showing is it is showing the amount of persistence or trendiness or anti-persistence, mean reversion-ness of those three charts. And you'll notice that the first two are not like the third. The first two show real, what we call multifractality. There's real complexity to those markets. And the third one is this, monocolor, unchanging at all scales market. If you look at the middle top, or the middle left diagram, you'll see those three lines. You'll notice that the yellow line and the blue line corresponding to the real market and the synthetic data that we generated mostly overlap. They mirror each other. And then the red line's the outlier, the random walk that is truly just noise. So the lesson here is we really can't tell the difference between just noise in a market and a real market. And if you can identify what is driving a market, you can say something about what's possible in the future in that market. This isn't prediction any more than weather forecasting is prediction, but the more you know about the initial conditions, the more you can say about what's going to happen next. The more you know about how something is changing, the even more you can say about what's going to happen next. So at Doomsun, we don't just write algorithmic trading strategies. We have something called the meta strategy. And what the meta strategy is a process of rapid creation, continuous scoring, and automatic allocation. And what that means is we're able to build our strategies from composable parts. We don't build every strategy from scratch every single time. We have a whole bunch of different models that are highly configurable, can be composed together in different ways, so we can iterate quickly on model development. We employ several scoring techniques. One's a Bayesian, if anyone's got a stats background, a Bayesian scoring technique that essentially tells us if the model's predictions are believable. It's a believability calculation. So we use that to help assess how much should be allocated to any given strategy, whether or not that strategy should be deallocated. And if it is deallocated, we put it in what we call shadow mode. So it sits in the background and waits for the market to change such that it's appropriate to run that strategy again. And this happens automatically in our system. And we also do something called decay weighting. And the motivation for that is, as I said earlier, markets are non-stationary. They're changing over time. So we want to make sure that just because a strategy is scoring poorly today, that it isn't permanently punished for its past poor behavior, that it has a chance to redeem itself. And then automatic allocation, kind of already touched on this, but strategies get allocated based on their believability, based on their market performance. We also do an empirical running expected value calculation. So even if a strategy is super believable and it's doing the right thing, that doesn't mean the market that we're trying to trade in is allowing us to express our perceived edge. So we do try to embrace empiricalism as much as possible. I don't care if it works in a lab. I want it to actually make money. So to that end, we have a trading platform we call Nova. This is our market intelligence platform. It's modular, built of composable bits. It's designed to hypothesize about strategies, develop, test, deploy them, and manage their life cycle. We build a bunch of tools on top of this platform by composing together its pieces of functionality, and those tools we believe can be promoted into products as time goes on. We have one I'll show you today. These are some of Nova's key features. I'm just going to run through them real quick. So modular and event-driven. Accumulate-only databases, which is a fancy way of saying that all data that flows through our system, all model configuration, all input data, everything is stored permanently. So we can go back and see why something happened, debug a model, figure out what we can change to make it perform better in the future. Our alpha and risk models are composable. We have a model-driven portfolio. So not only do our strategies get built out of composable bits, but the portfolio model can be swapped out, so you can change how it behaves. I won't go too deep into that. We do forward simulation and extrapolation instead of just backtesting. Backtesting can only tell you how a model would have performed historically in a particular model or market. That's an N of one. You get one set of data to test against. Fat tail events, rare events happen rarely. but you don't want to have a rare event wipe out your portfolio. So we do simulate the behavior of markets so we can expose them to large amounts of data. We have something called in situ backtesting, which is just a fancy way of saying all of our backtests run in our real system. So there's no difference between, there's few differences between how a backtest would run and how it would run in the live system. We have our scoring system, and then we have a whole bunch of algorithm libraries. Notably, we have a machine learning predictors library that does the short-term forecasting of markets and other advanced things like control theory libraries. This is all exposed through a service we call Mycelium. Those of you that know what that is might think it's clever, but Mycelium is an AI orchestratable API layer that allows us to quickly test and develop new strategies. And then Daylight is our first product. Daylight is just a wrapping up of 3 features from the Nova platform and exposing it in a user interface and an API that can be used by anyone that, well, traders, advanced traders. So, like I said, Daylight is our first product, composed out of bits of Nova. We have this kind of dynamo internally where we build things, see if they work for us. If they do work for us, they've been stress tested, used in battle, and if they work for us, we believe they should work for other traders. So we believe that being our own ideal customer profile, basically, is a good way to develop software rather than just being a software vendor. So Daylight does market structure analysis. Those surface plots you saw earlier are one example of market structure analysis, but it tells us what kind of feedback there is in a market. It identifies regime transitions, so if you're going from a calm to a volatile market, from a complex to a simple market, et cetera. And it does this at all different scales. So, people can look at a market, very short term, 1 minute bars going by, or they can look at daily prices or weekly prices. And believe it or not, the same market will perform completely different at those different time scales. And we were able to quantify that and show you the difference between them. We do probabilistic forecasting, so we'll give you confidence intervals and forward extrapolations of markets so you can see what is possible in the market. Now, don't trade on the squiggly line that we produce. It's probably not actually going to happen, but the range of the squiggly lines that we produce says what the market is actually capable of. No market can go to infinity. Most don't drop to 0. There are buffers and flows, people that will buy or sell at different price levels, people that have different levels of conviction in the market. Taking an aggregate, we can quantify what a market's able to do. And then finally, we offer realistic simulation of markets. You saw that earlier with the synthetic data. So here's some pictures of what that looks like. Oh no. Oh, it works up there. There's no pictures on my screen. Hey, it's going to work somewhere. On the left here, this is what we call a multifractal heat map. Fancy way of saying it is showing the mean revertingness or trendiness of a market at different scales over time. So it crams a lot of dimensions of data into a single picture, but just at a glance, I can tell you that this market, when it's calm, develops trends, and when volatility increases, it becomes strongly mean reverting, and it has become more of that as time has gone on. It's become actually significantly more mean reverting as time has gone on. In the top left, this is an example of us doing a market forecast. Apologies for the tiny size, but it's there. And then the bottom right is a whole bunch of simulations. It's 100 forward simulations of a market based on the fingerprint of that market. Most of the data used for that fingerprint is actually represented in that multifractal heat map. So there's some interplay between these different features. So we use the market structure analysis to generate the simulation data, and these simulations play a part in the machine learning driven market forecasts. So these are 3 features that work that contribute to each other. We're a really small team. We're all engineers for the most part. Yeah, all but one of us is an engineer. Myself and my co-founder, Damien Mack, have 20 plus years each experience building event-driven systems, distributed systems, systematic trading for investment banks and hedge funds. We've been around the block building hard infrastructure. We have two engineers, my founding engineer, Yao Adame, sitting in the back. And Zachary Roth is one of our data scientists. Scott Lloyd has been helping us on the business strategy side. And then we have advisors from multiple disciplines. We have a former equity strategist from JP Morgan. We have a former hedge fund manager. We have the VP of engineering from Nubank, which is a big digital bank, recently IPO'd and came to the US. And then a smattering of other people that have been helping us with various parts of our discipline. But that's it. I hope you have a lot of questions. Thank you, and hit me. Yes.
So I just want to make sure before I ask my additional question, is the software specifically based for like
Energy transition space?
or is that kind of just like the niche that you showed the proposal?
Yeah, so energy transition's the niche that we're focused on. It's more than just because it's turbulent and a good fit for our software. Our long-term thesis, and I didn't say it at all, our long-term thesis is to understand energy transition markets, or let me rephrase that, understand what they're doing, next understand why they're doing it, which is the market structure analysis and all of that, and then ultimately we want to have positive impact in that space. It started as a pet project of mine, just understanding how that space is evolving.
Okay, so that does apply to my next question then. So would you say that like investing in the company that's creating these, like for instance, wind turbines or whatever, would you invest in the company that does the whole project, or would you invest in the company that does parts of the project? Or would that be something that you would use your software to kind of decide
Right.
where to go?
Yeah, I mean, more broadly, do you want to invest in the supply chain for a space that is rapidly growing, or do you want to pick a winner? I would discourage people from trying to pick a winner. We don't know who the winners are going to be in all of these spaces. Maybe in wind we do, just because that's a pretty mature space. But I would tell people to focus on the flows through the space. There are things. There are a lot of components involved. Solar is a better example because you have things like inverters, which are made in China. You have the solar panels themselves, which are currently mostly made in China, but could totally be made here, 6 months worth of investment. And there's a whole bunch of regulatory frameworks around what has to be made where and how much subsidies are hitting them. So I would focus more on the big picture, not individual companies. The individual companies are terribly turbulent, and you're not going to be able to just pick one and hold. If I were to show you some of our back tests, our good back tests against, say, First Solar or Sunrun, which are American solar panel companies, over a year they'll trade 1,400 times, and a regular day trader or retail investor is not going to do that. Cool. Thanks. Yeah.
So the idea here is it's for day trading?
So our tool Daylight would be a good fit for a day trader. We do want to target both individual day traders and investment bankers, analysts. We feel like data's data, and how you use it is, dependent on what you do.
To help me understand it, so about 5 years ago I developed kind of a strategy based on trend following in crypto markets. So like with a product like Daylight, would it help me to kind of like see if that theory works, or would it actually help me execute trades, or how would it help me?
Yeah, we decided deliberately not to get into the trade execution space. You could totally use our market simulation to build a bunch of synthetic data and then hit your strategy with that, see how it performs. Also, you could incorporate the signals that come out of the market structure analysis as part of your strategy. It could be input to your strategy. So maybe your strategy works really well when the market is clearly trending, but you want a good durable trend signal, we could provide a good durable trend signal via an API. Vaughn.
What is your revenue model and who are your users?
So I did deliberately strip all of that out of my presentation, but I left the slides. So we have a two-track revenue model. We have the trading operations themselves, which, on paper make money, and we'll run a small prop fund starting second quarter this year, which I believe we're now in. And the evolution of that prop fund would be run the prop fund for ourselves, use it as validation against our tools, and then ultimately turn that into an LP fund, bring on external investors, charge management and performance fees. The other side is products, and the products largely fall into two categories, API or platform as a service products. I'm told that I shouldn't say SaaS because SaaS is dead because of something called AI. And then subscription products to curated data. Curated data can be really valuable. If I have a signal that is demonstrably valuable, people would pay for that. But yeah.
We have time for one more question.
Thanks for looking around the room before you decide to leave me.
Well, yeah, I mean, there are other hands that are up that went down, so.
So listening to you explain the rocket ship is fun, but I'm a little bit of an ignoramus, so I didn't understand half of it. Do you have any experiences or little short stories of using your services that you could tell us, like some good moments that you had?
Yeah. So that multifractal heat map is DJT, which is not something I would encourage anyone to invest in. But when it got pumped because it bought a company called TIE, which is a fusion power company. Oh, DJT, for those that don't know, is Donald Trump's technology company that bought a fusion power company. And if that doesn't scream bullshit, I don't know what does. That bright red spot there wasn't there when I decided I wanted to short the hell out of it. And then it happened, which was nice. But the behavior was very obvious well before I made a decision on how to invest or not invest in that company. Yeah. All right. Thanks. Another one.
You got another one?
Well, I mean, I have
All
one.
right, you can start giving them out.
I got three now.
There's one last question we always ask, Joe, and that is, what can we do for you as a community?
So I said that I stripped all of the pitch material mostly out of this slide deck because I want people to try to understand this. I want to be able to explain it. That's a better way to put it. But we are raising a pre-seed. So if you know investors, preferably angel investors, family offices, hit me up. Love to hear from you.
Thank you. And our second presenter today is VeloIQ, and this is nope, that's Joe Smith. Never mind. This is Mark Nelson. Joe Smith, Mark Nelson. Okay, everybody welcome Mark Nelson. Woo!
All right, thanks, Vaughn. So want to jump into this real quick. So first, VeloIQ, what it stands for. So the company name came from trying to put velocity and intelligence together to support businesses. And really what this is AI software that helps manage business strategy for companies. So the owners can help run their company and focus on that instead of focusing so much on the strategy side of it. So a little background on myself. Again, Mark Nelson. I've been in leadership roles for the past 20 plus years in companies ranging from fairly small companies, mid-sized companies, and then a couple large enterprise companies. And really where this came from is my passion and desire to figure out how do you take the tools and all of the things, the resources that large enterprise companies have, and really take AI, which is definitely a way to level the playing field out there, and bring that and the processes that enterprise uses to small businesses and medium-sized businesses. So that's where this came from. I'll kind of walk through and explain what this is and what we're working on here. So, what's the problem? What was I trying to solve? When you look at this, 84.5% of strategic execution fails out there. Projects fail. And a lot of reasons why that happens, but ultimately that's one of the topics there is trying to figure that out. And if you look at the next piece, the 60%, you're 60% more likely to execute successfully if you have regular reviews and refresh of your strategic priorities. So keeping those fresh and updated. The last company I was with for the last 8 years, we had a process which was not only the I'll say end of year or beginning of year where you sit down for a day or two and go through your strategic priorities, but it was a quarterly refresh and it was a monthly review of KPIs and making sure it's happening. And that's the piece that gets lost in a lot of strategy planning, and it's that usually you do it, you're like, got it, I stick it in a drawer and I go deal with my fires that are happening day to day. So if you look at the bottom piece there, it's really about trying to break that down into smaller bite-sized executable pieces. Shows there if you have less than 20 elements, you're 68% more likely to succeed in that. If you get overwhelmed, I got too many priorities, everything's a priority, nothing happens. So how does VeloIQ solve this? Really kind of four core areas that we're focused on here. Number one, learning. So the system is trying to figure out and learn through continuous study of the decisions you're making on your strategy, what you're making decisions on. It's studying your market, it's looking at competitors, and it's looking at customer behavior out there. So it's pulling all that information in and supporting the learning process. Number two, advising. So AI is extremely capable in this area to understand if you've got enough information about what you're trying to do and your goals and your direction and everything else. It can surface those key areas and advise you on what you need to be focused on. Doesn't have bias, doesn't have things that we all have in our head. So that's the next piece, and then delegation. So part of this is trying to help offset some of the time and effort that's being spent right now on an owner to let the system help that. I know there's plenty of systems that do social media. That's one of the topics. But trying to watch the markets behind the scenes, trying to understand what your competitors are doing behind the scenes, the execution, project management. We're trying to take off all of that work from an owner and reduce that so they can focus more on executing on the strategic items. And then the last piece is really coaching. So delivering a weekly plan that's focused, trying to make sure that we're following up on progress, and then again, kind of behind the scenes, proving what's working in that. So trying to get that momentum and runway going of execution of that strategy and seeing what is it doing for my company and how is it driving me forward. So what's in the product? The top three are really modules. The bottom three are more the execution layer that's going on behind the scenes. So the Compass IQ is really the core strategy topics. So it is taking the market intelligence, competitive analysis, and is building out with the owners and user support of defining what is that strategy, what are we working on, how do we build that out. Second piece is social IQ. It looks at more than that as it starts the process. We look at I'll say the advertising in general. So it kind of looks at your business, your market, your customers, what you do, and says, here's where you should be investing your time and energy as a high level view. And then where social and media is involved in that, it starts to build a plan based on what's your capacity and tolerance and willingness to spend time in social media. Where are your primary areas? For example, if you say, hey, for me, it was LinkedIn. You need to be doing 3 to 5 posts a week for LinkedIn. It will help generate those posts and send you emails on whatever a schedule is that gets built out of that to meet my constraint criteria around how much time can I spend on this. So helping with that area. Ops IQ, really this remains still a high level. My belief is if you're really diving into deep financials and deep operation stuff, that's where a business coach, business consultant can really help out. This helps high level. Am I priced correctly? Am I going to market correctly? It can help guide you through those general questions, and it can understand with your company how to really dive into those things and help guide questions or topics around operations. The bottom three, again, are kind of behind the scenes execution topics. So Pulse IQ, this is your market watch. So it would be, if you allow it or want it to, it can connect to your Google Business Review or profile and manage those and make sure you're keeping up to date on that. For those of you who are aware, that really drives so much about SEO and what's going on. Drive IQ is really the project management execution layer behind the scenes. So as all of those strategic tasks are getting created and defined, along with the social media topics, it's building an execution or project management piece behind that, where it's sending out those emails and saying, hey, we need to get this done. How are we doing on this? Allows you to move dates back and forth and help support the actual execution of those items. And then the last one, a little bit in the infancy right now, but V, so for VeloIQ, that is the AI advisor. So first iteration right now, it's kind of an AI advisor within the site itself. But ultimately, this will be the interaction point, or what I want to drive as an interaction point for, instead of logging into the site and having one more site that you got to go to do all this stuff, put it on your phone, interact with it. It becomes the execution layer where you can just ask it questions and it will provide you answers back specific to your strategy or timing, everything else. So ultimately, that's got to build a ways further than it is right now, but the basis is that'll be a heavy interaction layer between the owner and the site itself, the knowledge. Due to time, I'm not going to dive deep into the product, but basically if you want to do an explore mode and say, I want to know what the product does and what it'll show me, you can sign up for free, no credit card, no anything else. It'll walk you through some questions. It'll gather information about your company, yourself. In that process, it's doing a bunch of searching behind the scenes and understanding what's going on. Where is your business review at? What's your digital presence? What's your footprint look like? And it comes back with ultimately an intelligence brief within that 10-minute range to get through it. That brief has been pretty insightful to most people so far, to say it uncovers things that you may not be aware of in that process. That's all free. You can log in. Compass then runs, and you can get at least your 5 to 7 recommendations, strategic recommendations. Past that, it's most things are redacted out because that's where subscription or the payment comes from. Once you're in the site and using it, again, I apologize for the small screenshot here. The items behind this window are the strategy items that so AI will go out and recommend those items. You can choose to interact with them. You can say, yes, I want this one. No, I don't want this one. I'm going to park it. It's not what I want right now. But the real value comes in the refinement process. Best example I can use is one of the customers I was working with. It came back and said, you don't have a digital loyalty program that is visible out there. And they said, well, I have it. I just don't use it well, and I don't have it built out. I haven't had the time to figure out what to do. When we went through that refinement process and clarified those sorts of details in here, the level of knowledge of that strategy item went from something that was basic to this is now really helpful. It actually helped define the true execution plan. What do I need to do? What is the execution layer underneath that to actually make that happen? So it's much different world once you get in and start working with these items and refine them. AI-powered content generation. So again, this is around the social media piece of it. What I used here, again, hard to see with the glare, sorry. This is where I can define my constraints for how many hours I'm willing to put in time for social media. This tells me then, as you go down there, all the different topics of which platforms I want to work on, how often I want to post on there, and then it'll generate 3 recommendations based on my company, my desire, my voice, my everything else, and send those to it. So one of the examples, this is my first post. It came back and it was fantastic. I'm like, I can't write it better than, minor modifications, but it was a really good post that is going to be used. I'll kind of pause here, and knowing Vaughn was going to ask this question, how can you guys help? So really, Right now, 3 things I'm looking for is one is the honest feedback. What resonates, what doesn't. If you're an owner-operator or working with strategy type items, what's working, what's not working, what do you see in here? Is this solving real problems that you guys see out there? And then the next 2, right now, looking for a minimum viable product launch in May. So I've got a group of betas we're working with, got good feedback, we're making changes to the product, but want to take the next step and push out the product. If there are things that are missing that are core to, hey, this is critical for strategy planning or usefulness in terms of helping support businesses, need to know what those are. And then the last topic is really kind of the early adopter phase. That May launch will be early adopters, limited to 10 early adopters, and basically pricing will be 50% off in order to support that and get feedback and know we're probably going to work through a few opportunities in the process. So that's it. I'll kind of open it up for questions at this point, and I again blew through it fairly quickly just because I can't really dive into the demo, but if you want to stay afterwards or we want to catch up and talk at a later time, happy to do that. So thank you. There's one question. Yeah.
Hi, Mark. I really
Hi.
like this product from a small business perspective. One of the questions that I had was if you have a small business with a team of folks, do you have the ability, as those tasks are identified, to then assign them out to
Yep.
individual roles and positions within that organization?
Yeah, that's one of, so yes, right now you have the ability to assign them and it'll go via email. They'll get the email and they'll be able to interact with it. Past that, I don't have the ability right now for them to log in. I was trying to limit it to, I didn't want 20 people in here dealing with strategy and everything else. So owner kind of interacts with the site, but they can assign those tasks to other people on their teams. So yeah, Vaughn?
As a businessman, what is this going to cost me for the full version?
Yeah, so right now the $199 a month is the planned core. That gives you all the pieces we just talked about in here, including the Google Business Profile interaction. I want to keep it at that price point, really, because that's kind of that sweet spot for small businesses. I want to keep it manageable. The one, I'll say version 2 after launch, so we're hoping June or July, we want to add in, because of the intelligence around the understanding of the company, managing chatbot on the website, lead management for incoming email, voicemail, connecting to Messenger, DMs, things like that. That's kind of next phase, and there would be, depending on each one of those adapters will be a small amount of money on top of that, or a package deal if you want to do all of them. So that's kind of phase 2. But right now, $199 is the plan. So, yeah.
So are you going to be able to integrate some of the like plug-in type things that maybe you're already using, or I guess like on the social media side, is it going to post for you?
Yeah, so right now, I am purposely not letting it post for you. One, the complication is trying to hit every one of those, and 2, I'm still a human in the loop kind of person where I'd rather have it give me suggestions and let me interact with those and modify them a little bit, because it's still not perfect in that process. I don't necessarily trust fully the posting. But at some point, if we find out it's working really well and we trust it and we want to turn that on, it's on the roadmap, but it's a ways out at the moment.
And will it create video content or static image content as well?
Yes, it can. Video, probably not well right now. Static image, yes. I've got the interface to that, and in the bottom of those posts, there's a little description. It'll go out and then get a picture that matches that, and you can choose to add that also. So yeah.
What's your target base? Are you focusing to business that's just growing, middle, or big businesses?
Yeah, I would say where I think the sweet spot is for this is smaller businesses that are growing and unsure of where to go next and where to get that growth, or they've got enough revenue, they've figured it out, but they're lost in I'm so busy dealing with the business every day, I don't know what to do or how to go after it next. For now, I would say medium and big businesses are, I've used them for test examples with them. They're actually quite compelling in terms of what it provides. I used a couple large companies and they're like, wow, this is actually really good information. I don't know that they usually have enough resources, they can do some of this on their own, but value-wise, it's come up with some fantastic strategic opportunities, and it helps change minds as to how to flow through the process and keep it fresh, as opposed to I stick it in a drawer and I forget about my strategy. So it can be used everywhere, but I'd say small to medium is where I'm focused right now. Yeah.
So the idea of developing a strategy and then executing the strategy, those are two different things.
Yes.
You kind of mentioned at the beginning. Where the rubber really meets the road is in the execution.
Yep.
So how is the tool going to really help push that execution and make it happen?
Yeah, so great question. A couple things. So number one is you pull up the strategic item you're working on. There's a few sections. One of them is an action layer. So it kind of tells you what are the key actions in this to why you're doing it, why it's important, and what you need to do with it. The next stage you get to is as you confirm this and put it into your strategic confirmed area, this is what I'm working on, there's actually an execution plan. It'll generate the plan, it'll give you 5 items in there, and those then become tasks in the drive. So it's actually, you set a date, you set a responsible person, and it sends those out to you and helps remind you. The other piece of that is a lot of these actually have AI can help you outside of this system to do those things. You can actually enhance or do an AI enhancement, so it'll generate a prompt for you saying these are the things you need to execute on. I will generate a prompt. You can copy and paste that into whatever your generative AI tool is that you prefer using and help guide you in that process to walk through it. But it really tries to break it down into small bite-sized pieces and give you executable topics to work on. So past that, you're right. It's still on the person to get it done. Still got to deliver as a person, but we try to break it down to as small a pieces as possible and help remind you and push you. And ultimately, in the end, show the value of what it's doing to add to your business and help you move forward on that.
Okay, we got one more question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So does that help with lead generating at all with your program?
Yeah, at the moment, no. What I'm trying to launch in May, it does not. The widgets that I'm trying to add soon after that, where it's the chatbot, the web forms, the email, the phone, that's almost 100% around lead generation management. So statistically, if you look at the impact that has, if you've got something that's answering a great question and managing your site and or those incoming questions off hours, your likelihood of getting that sale is way higher. Because the company we know about you, we know about your voice, we know about what your strategy and direction are, and I've already got the database built behind the scenes where you can load in your knowledge base and your FAQs and all that stuff. It'll use that to help drive that voice, as opposed to, I'll say, the random chatbot we've seen that's like, that was not helpful at all, or it didn't know anything about me, and it's more frustrating than it is valuable. So that is the next phase to add in here, and hopefully by mid June we'll have that ready to roll too. So there's one more back there, yes.
Since it won't cover anything with leads for the first launch, would your strategic recommendation have anything that covers that topic?
So if that is one of the challenges, as you're filling out the profile, if you define that as one of your challenges, yes, it will, and it'll help define some of those pieces. That's really where that interaction and refinement process really helps to narrow down to where are you struggling and where do you need help at. So,
Okay, sir.
thank you.
And you've already given us a good detail of your ask, but just real quick in 2 sentences, what can we do for you?
Yeah, again, feedback on this model, value and where you see interest and value in it. And then also if you are a company interested in being part of the early adopters, I would love to have some conversations, or if you know anybody. So, all right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And we would like to ask Joe and Mark and our organizers if right after the meeting you come up here real quick, we need to get a picture. Upcoming events, tomorrow morning is Open Coffee, Crescent Moon, in the basement, 8th and Peace Street. It goes from 8, what is it? 8 to 9, 9-ish. No agenda, no program. You just have coffee with your fellow entrepreneurs, startups, and talk whatever you want to talk about. Want something a little stronger? Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock at Boiler Brewing in the basement of the old Federal Building. Sort of like Open Coffee, only you're drinking beer and cocktails and wine, or you can have a Coke and iced tea if you want. And then this Monday is going to be Lincoln's major innovation event of the year, the I/O Summit, which will be at Sheldon Memorial Art Gallery. It goes all day long. There'll be, I think, there's booths, there's keynote speakers. Brian Ottiger throws this every year, and it's a major function. You do have to get tickets, so get online and check out. And if you put, I think it's 1MC as a code, you can get a really substantial reduction on your ticket price, but that'll be next Monday. Anything else coming up that anybody thinks we need to be aware of? Yes.
Lincoln AI is meeting next Wednesday, April 15th. We're going to be talking about Second Brain, which is a development approach for using AI. Everyone is welcome to that. 6 o'clock here, 6 p.m. I should say, April 15th. You can go to lincolnai.org to sign up. Look forward to seeing everyone.
Yes.
So the Taiwanese Chamber of Commerce North America is having a global startup challenge, and the application is open. Deadline is April 28th, and the actual event will take place in Bethesda's North Marriott Hotel and Conference Center in Maryland. It's for C-stage companies, and you don't have to have any Taiwanese to be on your team to apply. The highest cash price is $12,500, and it's equity free, and you get the chance to meet with VC and CVCs and PE, and yeah, so apply.
Anything else? Yes.
www.tccna.org/pitchday.
Talk to her afterwards and she can give you that. Yes, did you have something? Somebody over here? Nope. Anything else? Okay, stick around. Have another cup of coffee, a donut, and we will see you all next week at 1 Million Cups.